let's start. Hello, everyone. I'll be talking today about the 100 Days of Code Challenge and what was my experience. I know it's a bit nerdy, but it's Code Connect. I had to do it. So my name is Ivaylo Ivanov, or for short, Ivo. By day, I'm multitasking at Runecast, and by night, for 100 days during this summer, I was participating on the 100 Days of Code Challenge. I'm VMware certified. I'm a member of the winning team of the VMware World Hackathon in Barcelona in 2016. That was actually my first VMware World, which I attended, and yeah, I think it was the first hackathon in Barcelona. So yeah, we're building front end for VRO. So yeah, we managed to even to do it during the hackathon, and yeah, we got the first place. And as part of my achievements, I also put 100 Days of Code finisher because it's, well, it was a bit tough, I would say, but we'll get to that. You can find me on Twitter. I tweet from time to time. Well, during the 100 Days of Code Challenge, I was much more active there, but yeah. And yeah, definitely I'm not the knows it all type of guy. So yeah, I like to learn new stuff and question a lot of stuff also. I'm actually graduated as a software engineer, but this is actually me during my university years. So yeah, I kind of fell in love with like servers, networking, a bit later on virtualization and so on. And I pretty much done everything which I could to avoid programming. Well, I guess it turns out well, because otherwise, who knows when I may have ended up. And about the 100 Days of Code Challenge. So this is a quite big community. So it has over 100,000 community members. There is like a big Slack community, or on Twitter and so on. So basically, you can like ask a question, you can share your progress, and so on. So yeah, you can basically reach out all the time to somebody from the community. And there are two main rules when you want to start the challenge. So the first one is to code at least 1 hour per day for 100 days. It sounds, yeah, a bit like too much. And actually, before I started this challenge, I had the tab from the 100 Days of Code website for quite some time. I think for like over 2 months. I had it open in my browser. I was going to start, but yeah, at some point COVID hit, so there was lockdown and so on. So yeah, it was quite challenging to like stay at home with all the family all the time and so on. So there was not a good time to start that. But after the restrictions were lifted, I started the challenge. So yeah, one of the main dedication is to code at least 1 hour per day. And this could be practically anything. So maybe you want to learn to code from scratch, right? So I actually see a lot of people who are doing this challenge because they're like job hunting, for example. So they want to get a job as a developers or something like that. So yeah, that's one way to go. You can also like use it to learn a new framework, for example, or basically a new language, right? So it's up to you. It's quite free, so you can actually go whichever you want. One of the things I see many people are doing is that throughout this challenge, they build a like portfolio, for example, right? So something more complex, which would of course take more time to build, but it will showcase your skills on multiple levels. The second rule, quite important, is that you need to tweet about your progress daily using the 100 days of code hashtag. Also, there is a repository which you can fork and a log file, so you can basically log your progress every day, what you've done. If, like, let's say you committed some work to your public repository, you can share a link to the commit. So other members of this challenge can see what you are up to or what you did that day. And what was my motivation and why I started? So as I mentioned, I was kind of involved with programming from like some time ago. I always enjoyed writing some scripts and so on. And what I found out that it's usually quite easy or easier to work in a project or to contribute in a project which already exists. So there is some code base already, and yeah, you want to add some functionality or change something, adjust it a bit. So yeah, you can make it to make it work. Yeah, I wanted to go back a step back and to understand how actually to get this set up and to reach that level. And for a good amount of time, I had, like in the past years, I had the understanding that, well, I was quite confident that I could understand any program. So if I'm reading the code, I was thinking that I'll figure it out, right? So whatever it is, as soon as I will start like reading the code, following what calls this function, and so on, and I'll figure out what it does. Well, it turns out that it doesn't work like this, especially when you like in software uses some like frameworks and so on. Things are getting more complicated. So that was wrong assumption, and I know that already. The other thing, a bit related to that, is to overcome the anxiety of starting a new project. I assume that a lot of the people who are now on the session, they also blog, right? And for example, when I also start to blog or to write some blog article, when I open the editor, I have a blank list, and I have so many ideas. I have so many things which I want to say, but well, first when I start with a blank list, and it's quite difficult to start. So what should I write first? Would this be understandable, and so on? So I found with the software, it's quite similar. So as I mentioned in the previous point, so when you're on an existing project, it's much easier to like alter or add new functionality there. So those are from personal perspective. Also from like professional point of view, I'm kind of a bridge, or yeah, between development team and customers or partners and so on. So sometimes I need to be able to translate what we need to do or why we need to do something to much more technical people. And I have quite experience with the VMware domain already. So basically, I often act as this link which translates, let's say, some kind of business requirements to actually what needs to be developed. And yeah, I really wanted to be able to do that better. I wanted to understand better how the backend works in terms of how difficult something might be. So basically, to be able to some extent to estimate the efforts of doing something. And another thing, I really wanted to build web-based TIN. And I'm sure none of you knows what TIN is, except maybe Kripa, if she remembers like the hackathon in 2017 or 18, I don't remember already. I was a team lead back then, and I had this idea to build TIN. It stands for the teammate I need. So kind of set of like or like a toolbox with stuff which you do from time to time and kind of want to automate, so to have them in one place. Back then, this was implemented with set of VRO workflows. VRO actually is one of my favorite products from VMware. I really enjoy using it. So yeah, we had quite like good team, great guys were there. So we created a bunch of workflows, and yeah, you could run them from VRO and do some stuff. Well, now I wanted to make it like a bit more complicated and more reachable, let's say. And my journey began with this tweet on June 1st, 2020. I publicly committed that I'm starting the 100 Days of Code challenge. And yeah, it's the next 100 days without actually even a skip went, I think, quite fast, to be honest. And what was my routine? Many people were saying that, hey, don't don't look at tutorials. You build something on your own, right? So I'm not really a fan of that. I really like to balance those things, because if I really want to build something, I'll Google things, I'll make it happen. But if I need to build something like similar but not exactly, then I'll need to go again and start Googling stuff, right? So what I try to achieve now is I was watching some like videos in Pluralsight. So with the vExpert, we have this annual subscription in Pluralsight, a lot of great developer content there. So I was watching videos on Pluralsight. While watching them, I was trying to follow and code what's written, what's explained there. Sometimes changing it a bit. Yeah, sometimes could happen that like 1 hour or 2 hour video, I'm on it for 2 days because sometimes I go back, try to make it a bit complicated just to make sure that I'm understanding stuff. And something else, usually I left my weekends to be just purely hands-on. So whatever new thing I learned throughout the week, then I was trying to practice it more during the weekends. And usually during the weekends is the time when like I could dedicate some more time to this challenge. Yeah, during the week, basically my time was from 9 or 10 p.m. up to 12, 1, it depends. But yeah, basically need to balance between work life and the challenge. So on, I think, first or second week already I managed to build some console application. I was focusing on Java. Not sure if I mentioned that earlier. So yeah, maybe a lot of people would disagree, but yeah, that's totally different conversation. There are like, many other great languages which you can use. One of the main reasons why I wanted to focus on Java is that in the company where I work at, in Runecast, we use Java quite a lot. And I have a lot of great colleagues, and I would also say friends already, that are like really brilliant Java developers. And I know that sometimes if I had some like question or something, I could really like check with them or just to get some guidance. And I would really like advise you, if you're considering starting this challenge, you can try to find a mentor. I think it's quite important. It's easy, just even if not asking like for some advice, just try to explain something which you watched in a video, let's say, just to make sure that you understood it. So yeah, and I did first console application. So of course I'm using my knowledge with VMware. So I was using the SDK just to first retrieve some data. Then I started to like perform some actions against the vCenter server. After that, there was a second implementation. This already had some UI using Java Swing. It looks ugly, I know. Well, my goal is like still to focus on backend, but it's really great when you can also do some kind of a front end. So just to show from like end to end what you've done. So here again, just doing some actions against the vCenter server. We'll get to that later again. After that, I started with Spring, really popular framework for Java. And this was a really big step for me because I started to do really a web application, create web services, talking to vCenter server. Now I even started to like utilize the vSphere automation SDK. So things already started to look a little better. And the next implementation came with SpringBoot and the VMware Clarity design system. And actually, yeah, we're on CODE conference, so we cannot go without showing any code. So here is one line of code, and this is how you start, how your Spring Boot application looks like. I mean, when you want to start it, the main class, the main method. So let's start this thing, and yeah, then we can do some live demo. Let's see if the demo gods are, oh, awesome. Okay, so yeah, now this thing already looks a bit better. So it's in login screen. I assume it's really familiar for a lot of you guys because yeah, it's similar to the vSphere web client. So let's log in here. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, basically the main thing which I wanted to be able to do is to create REST services. So basically now Spring Boot service serves as a RESTful service. So basically I'm calling it from the front end and retrieving some data. For example, now this is for the vCenter server. I see some high-level information. I really wanted to be able to translate the version and build number to the actual like release of VCR. I use this quite often. Sometimes I want to understand just, okay, so what am I running, right? So this is done automatically, and kudos to one of our fellow VMware community members, Virten. He has like a really nice blog, and he maintains a Java file where these mappings can be taken from. There is some work in progress for the hosts, again, similar mapping to release names and so on. And of course, there are some actions which can be performed from here. And this is this one action which has bitten me before, actually, when I was back in IBM as a VMware engineer. One time I pretty much was unable to perform a patching of some cluster because of misconfiguration of virtual machines. So I wasn't able to migrate it off one of the hosts which I needed to patch. So after that, I scripted that, and I was able to validate if all VMs will be able to vMotion. So after that, I really wanted to make this thing automated and reachable for other people. And now I managed to do it in Java. Before I did it in PowerCLI, and it was quite easier, I would say. For Java, it's a bit more challenging. But yeah, now again from here I can like easily understand what VM cannot be vMotion to a particular host and what's the reason for that. So here I like on purpose configured some VM with disks on not shared storage, so it was not possible to be moved to other hosts. So it's it's quite simple so far. I, of course, plan to add many other things here. The whole code is on GitHub. It's open source, if we can call it this way. So yeah, if anyone wants to contribute or something, I'm more than welcome. Moving forward, what the main thing which this challenge gave to me, I would say, is the persistence. So I think this is really important thing. During this challenge, actually, there were like quite a few moments, some bad moments, which where I was about to, like, let's say, either quit the whole challenge altogether or like skip some day or something. Sometimes I could see no progress. So sometimes I would code something and let's say I'm starting with the application worked when I started, then I try to make it better, and of course it all breaks. Sometimes it feels like, yeah, I did something, it's great, it works, and then, oh, but that looks like it's you know, high school level programming, right? So yes, sometimes it was quite like demotivating for me. And of course, there was some I think just once, and it was on day 92 or 3, it was like towards the end, I've been sick. So yeah, I almost like skipped that day, but actually it turns out to be one of the most productive days from the whole challenge, because yeah, I was feeling bad, but like, wow, like stand whole day in bed, I just get my laptop and started doing stuff, and yeah, then kind of it took my mind off how I was feeling, and yeah, I made quite a good progress. There were also some happy moments which could also result in skipping a day. For example, like 3 weeks after I started the challenge, I had my 30th birthday, but that was still not big enough reason for me to like skip the day. I again found time, and I really think that finding 1 hour per day, it's quite easy. It seems sometimes seems a lot, but I don't recall really like giving up on something to make room for this. So as a minimum 1 hour, I think it's like really easy to achieve. Couple of weeks after that, my son had a birthday, and during the summer we were also traveling abroad, and it was actually me and my son away for over 10 days, but still I kept going, and I didn't skip a day. I was like doing courses, reading blogs, coding a lot, and quite a lot of time I was troubleshooting. So where this got me, I managed to create Tin as a web application. So I managed to create REST services with Spring, which is really easy. A lot of complexity is hidden. But I'm happy that I understand more and more how this works. I got much more hands-on with vSphere management and automation SDKs. And also I contributed to internal tools. Yeah, that was really, really nice, because I helped to increase the productivity of our team, because due to my role, I very often see some stuff which can be easily done to improve some process or something. And before I had to bug some like developer or something, you know, hey, can you do that? Can you do that? And now I have this freedom that, okay, so now I can just go and try and do it. And yeah, it feels really great. And also I'm very often part of the code review process. So having your code reviewed by some like senior developer, it's really nice. They're like really good like feedbacks and comments and many things we can learn from. Just a bit of statistics from my experience. So I spent for this 100 days over 200 hours of coding and troubleshooting, and yeah, troubleshooting was like it was a lot of troubleshooting sometimes. Yeah, it's easy when things work, but when things go wrong, you really need to dig and understand what really happened. And actually, that's the time when you learn the most, because you see exactly how things work. I spent over 30 hours with tutorials in different forms, video, blogs, and so on. Team went through 3 implementations, as you saw, as a CLI application, Java Swing with this weird UI, and then as a web application. And one thing which is like really worth mentioning, and it's really important, that I also spent quite a lot of time trying to summarize what I did that day in a tweet. Yeah. So I never tweeted that much before in my life. So yeah, sometimes it was quite challenging. So I hope I convinced you to join the 100 Days of Code challenge. If I have to summarize it with one sentence, I would say that for me, that was 100 days of changing the way I think, because like being a developer, or even not being a developer, just understanding how many of these things work give you better understanding actually of like a whole system and so on. And if you want to reach out, you can follow me on Twitter. If you are interested in team to know how it works, or if you want to contribute, you're more than welcome. You can find it on my GitHub page. So yeah, let's connect. I would like to thank you for your attention, and yeah, if there are any questions I can answer, shoot.
Yeah, there's a question for you in the Q&A right now. Which would be better to select first, language and then learn coding, or starting with the framework?
Oh, definitely language. Yeah, actually, a really good question. Now, even though I had some background with Java or other languages, I really now started from scratch. I started with variables, assigning variables, and so on. I mean, it's good because for example, in my case, it filled some gaps which I had, like what is more, let's say, memory efficient and so on. So yeah, I think that's really important.
Awesome. I think that was the only question.
Awesome. Okay, great. So yeah, if anything, tweet me or DM me or something. So
oh, never mind. One more question. Sorry.
okay.
Did you do everything in your own equipment, or did you test something in the cloud?
No, actually, I did everything on my own, and yeah, I have a lot of vCenters which are nested, some not, and so on. So I'm a VMware guy. I have home lab as well, and so on. So yeah, so far I used everything on my own.
Awesome. And now that's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you a lot for organizing it and having me here.
Oh, will you share the community links? Somebody's asking that too. I'm not sure what links.
I guess to the GitHub repository.
Probably.
Yeah, sure. Zoom, am I right? Where I can see the.
Let me just type it in.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it? Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
day, everyone. Bye.